Good morning students, myself Prema. Welcome students. Students, today we are going to study the third chapter of history, that is applied history. Applied history means students how the past events of the history can be used to study the problems of today's period. That is here history information can be used in the present period also and for the future time also. So first we will be studying about what is applied history. Applied history is also known as public history. Applied history is a field of study concerned with the application. Application means use of history for the benefit of people in the contemporary, that is in the present and future times. So applied history students, what it is called? It is called as public history. So here the knowledge of the past events of the history, it can be used for the benefit of the people in the present period and the future, for the future generation also. So whatever information of the past events that we are having, so that informations can be used by us for dealing with the problems that we face in the present period and in the future times. Knowledge of history is useful as it can provide guidance in finding solutions to contemporary social issues and incorporate them in social planning. So whatever the information knowledge of history that we are having, so by having the information of that, so solutions to the different social problems that we are facing in the present period, and that can be, and that solutions in can be also included in the social planning also. So knowledge of history is essential for that purpose. So if we are having the information about the past events, past informations if we are having, so with that, with the help of that informations, we can find solutions to the different problems. The projects and programs related to applied history can create opportunities for people to participate along with the technical experts. Now historians know that people, they are called as the technical experts. So along with the historians, a common people, they can also participate in the projects and programs. So their participation in the capacity of tourists visiting museums and ancient sites is also important. So here people, we are visiting various tourist sites, museums, ancient sites we are visiting. So there also, by having a look over that, we can find out the informations about that historical things. So we are gathering the informations. Tourism can creates interest in history among people by visiting different places. So that here it means that tourism, it creates interest among the people about the historical things. So they can volunteer to participate in the conservation and preservation projects of their own city or town or village. So in this way, people, they can also participate the various historical sites and projects that are there in their own city, and that is located there in their own city or town, by maintaining, means conserving and preserving the projects. People, they can also participate in the, they can also participate in protecting the historical things. So here students, we are going to study about public history. Now public history, that people, they have a lot of misgivings about the practicality of the knowledge of history. So students, here people know they are having a lot of doubt regarding the possibility of the use of the knowledge of history. They think that here his knowledge of history is not useful for earning any economic value, means money cannot be earned through that. Means here, if a person is going to have the degree of engineer, if he is going to become a doctor, and also he can earn more money, but in history, history is not having any economical value. So here, for example, here it is mentioned that history is only useful for a person, for the people, those who are interested in history, those who want to go for higher studies in history, for that students only it is useful. Along with that, history is useful only for the historians. And history as a field of knowledge does not have any applicability to economically productive fields, means it does not have any economical value. Money, a person going by studying the history, he can't earn more money. That was the thinking of the people. So public history helps to overcome such misgivings. So by studying public history, we can overcome such types of doubts and makes history meaningful in everyday life. So how we can make history meaningful? by studying the incidents, means what in the present period, whatever the events that are taking place, by connecting that events with the past events, we we can study that. There are many universities abroad where various courses in public history are offered. So some institute names are given. Srishti Institute of Art Design and Technology is an institute at Bengaluru, Karnataka. This institute has an independent department named Center for Public History. These departments has taken up various projects and research in the field of public history. So here by studying public history, what we came to know that here whatever the doubts regarding this public history people they were having, so that has been removed. Means here by studying history, what was the thinking of the people, a person can become a teacher and a teacher and all, and it is only useful for the historians. But no, by studying means by studying the public history we can connect with the past. Next we are going to study about applied history and research in various fields. Now history is about the past events. We all know history is the study of past events. So the way our present lifestyle is shaped is dependent on the historical chain of events. So the present lifestyle, students, that we are enjoying in today's period, so it is dependent on the historical chain of past events that in today's period. So in today's period we are living, we are independent, we are living in independent India. But before that means, but our independence, it is connected with the past events, how our leaders they fought with the British people, how we got the independence. So our present is connected with the past. Now historical events relate to various fields like politics. So politics, here in the politics we can see here equal rights are given to both men and women, the right to vote. The about social, the social background, how it is now in today's where we find that here reservation category is given to the SC ST and all. So that reservation, what is the reason for the reservation, why reservation is provided to them, what are the reasons. So that reasons where we can come to know by studying the past. So through the past we can gather that information, we can come to know about the social background that is of today and how it was in the past. Another is religious structure of the community, the religious structure of the community, how it is in today's period, and why it is means why this religious structure in today's period it is like that, how it was in of present period if we are going to study, so then we have to study about the past. Philosophy, technology and science, along with that technology and science also, in that also various types of inventions we can find in today's period. But that inventions that are related with the past only, about we can just take the example of mobile phones. Now today we are having Android phones and all, smartphones and all. Before that, which type of phones were there? Same phones were there before or no? At that time, we were having keypads were there. So, by doing the improvement, means changes were made in the science and technology. So, new types of phones, mobile phones were invented. So, through that means by studying that we can come to know. So, here it means that each and every fields they are having their own history of knowledge, that is politics, social, religious structure. So, we are going to study about applied history and research in various fields. First, we are going to study about philosophy. Philosophy means viewpoint. The history of philosophy helps in understanding the origin of various ideologies, the intellectual traditions giving rise to those ideologies, and their historical development. That is, through the history of philosophy, we can come to understand the origin of various ideologies. Means ideologies here means how the thinking evolved. That we can come to know. Now each and every philosophers they are having their own thinking and viewpoints, and the intellectual traditions that gave rise to those developments, along with that their historical development. So here we can take the example of Mahatma Gandhi, that how Mahatma Gandhi, he was in South Africa, he came to India, how he contributed in the India's freedom struggle, and the means through by studying that we can come to know about the historical development of Mahatma Gandhi. Now philosophy needs language as a medium of expression. So here philosophy what it is needing, it can be expressed with the help of language, either by telling or by writing only. We can express about the philosophy. In order to understand the philosophical expression, knowledge of history of language proves useful. So to understand the philosophical expression means what the philosopher, he want to express. So how it can be expressed by the help of knowledge. So second, students, we are going to study about science. Now about science, students, we know, as we know that students, whatever advancement we have achieved in science, so that we have not achieved in one day, it is a chain of events. Now in the starting, no students, some inventions, discoveries were made, and later on it evolved into big ones. So it means that whatever information we are having about science, it has some histories. So in that also we have to study about the past. Now here what is mentioned, the history of science helps in understanding the chronological order of scientific discoveries. Chronological means sequence wise, one by one. Inventions and theories. How discoveries were made, invention were made, that. It can also help to understand the cause effect chain that led to those discoveries and inventions. So along with that, when we are going to study about the history, so in history of the science, so in that we can come to know what was the reason because of which that discovery was made, and what was the effect of that discovery, what was the effect of that discoveries and inventions, we can come to know. It is said that need is the mother of inventions. Need is the mother of inventions means because if we need something, then only we are going to invent something new. Here we can take the example. Now when we started feeling hot, so what we have discovered? Fan. Even when our need was not satisfied because of the fan, so we were having cooler, AC, now we are having. So that is one of the example. Next we are going to study about technology. Now the history of technology helps in understanding the changes and their causes in the field of agriculture, production, commodity production, architecture, engineering, etc. So what is told here, the history of technology, it helps in understanding the changes and what and their causes in the field of why there was a means cause changes were brought up in the brought about in the agriculture production. For example, here students, we can say as a population is going to increase, so the demand for agriculture production will be more. But if we are going to use the old method, that is bullocks, for doing the production, so what will happen, more time will be needed. But instead of that, if we are going to make use of tractor, so within less time production can be increased. Same way commodity productions, if the goods are going to be made by hand, so it is going to take less more time. But if the same goods are prepared with the help of machines, so what will happen, more production, more we can get. Architecture, engineering, etc., all this. So scientific discoveries, inventions and technological advancement are mutually dependent on each other. Mutually means they are interactive, they are correlative, dependent upon each other. With the help of scientific discoveries, by having the scientific knowledge only, we can do the new discoveries and new technology can be implemented. Next, we are going to study about industry and commerce. Now, the field of mutual social transactions expands with the growth of industry and trade. So, here students, what is told that no, as day by day, as the industry and trade it is going to expand, so number of people, the for those who are going to come to the city, that is also going to increase, because that people they are going to come in come to the city areas for working in the industries. So when people they come and stay and they work together, so what will happen, there will be exchange of culture among the people. So what will happen, there will be cultural interactions among the people. So it also promotes continuous development of network of cultural interactions, because of the people when they come from the other areas and they are coming and settling in the city areas. So it is an integral part of the industrial and commercial management. Integral means essential, important part of the industrial and commercial management. So it is essential to understand the history of these process. So for that purpose, what is necessary? It is necessary that we have to understand the history of that process, why it has been happened. The nature of the market and commerce has continued to change. It means that the market today it has been changed. Earlier students, what system we are having? We are having barter system, and today's period is of globalization. Accordingly, the nature of human relationships and the social organization has continued to change. See students, earlier we used to trade between us from within us from one state to other, but now what we are doing, we are trading with the entire world. So as we are trading with the entire world, so we come to know about the culture of each other. So as we know, India is a we all know that India is a big market for the foreign countries. To understand this development, it is necessary to study the history of culture, social organization, and economic institutions. So, if we want to study, understand these developments of the industry and commerce, so what we have to study? We have to study about the history of the culture, how the culture it was before, how it is now. Along with that, we have to study about the social organizations, how it was earlier. Earlier, we were having joint family system. Now we are having nucleated family system, because for the job purpose of people, this shift from one place to other is the economic institutions, that is about the banks and all. So if we want to study this development, what we have to do? We have to first go through the is we have to study the history of culture, social organization, and economic. Next one is management studies. Now, in order to understand the various factors involved in the chain of production, such as means of production, human resources, and process of production, as well as the chain of market and sales management, etc., it is essential to have a knowledge of similar functional systems of the past. Now, here, what is told? Management studies. See, students, if you are going to start a company or a factory, so what is necessary? That you should be able to manage it properly, and for that purpose, what is necessary? We have to study about the management, how means how we can manage the factory or the company, and how it was done earlier, and what are the changes that has been occurred, means how in today's period how it can be managed, and what are the changes that has occurred related to it. For example, we all know about the MBA, so it has been started now. So it means that management plays a very important role. Now in this the factors involved in the chain of production is such as means of production. Here means we can take the example of agriculture. In the agriculture, what will be the mean of production? We can take that is the land. Along with that, human resources. Human resources means people, and the process of production that is done. Process means with the help of what I'm going to do the production, whether it is tractors or machines I'm going to use, as well as the chain of market and the sales management in the markets. How the goods are sold. First we are selling the goods to the wholesalers, from there it is given to the retail shop, they are selling. So it is essential to have a knowledge of similar functional system of the past. So what is told? If we are going to have the knowledge of the past, means previously how it is done, how it has been managed, then only we can manage it, our factory company, properly. So it is necessary that all the related informations of the past we should have for good management. It is essential to understand the psychological character of people working at various levels in the chain of production and marketing for healthy managements. Here, psychological means intellectual character, that is a mental character. That it means that students, the different people, those who are working, so all the people they are going to have their different mindset. So, for example, here laborers and workers, those who are working, what they are going to think? They want good wages. Same way, the those who are going to supply the goods, they are having different mindset. And if I am going to resolve all that, I am able to resolve all these things, so I will be able to get good profit. So it means that if I am going to, if management is done properly, so what will happen? If management is not done properly, so workers, they will not be happy, and if workers are not happy, so what will happen? Production will be affected. So, in order to achieve it, understanding of the social and economic institutions that supports the industrial and commercial process is important. Along with that, what is necessary for understanding, for achieving all these things? What is necessary? The economic institutions that supports the industrial and commercial process is important. Economic institutions that is related to with the banks and all the informations I should have. Knowledge of history in this regard makes the management at various levels. Next, we are going to study about arts. Now, it is important to understand the development of various art forms with the help of their style of expression and their foundation in the form of intellectual, emotional, cultural traditions. So, what is told students? Now, students, we all know that there are different types of art forms are there. That is, painting is there, music is there, making sculptures, all that sort. So, it is necessary to study about this art. So if we are going to study about the art form, we can come to know the style of the expressions and what are the color combination in today's period that is used, and earlier how it was used, And moreover, what is there, no students, based on the emotional and cultural tradition of that artist period, the art form of that period will be shown by the artist. Next is humanities. Humanities means study of social science. Now humanities include disciplines like history. Discipline means here subjects. It is including subjects like history, archaeology. Archaeology means study of the past documents or remains of the past. Under is sociology. Sociology means study of the society. Anthropology. Anthropology means study of the origin of human relations or life. Political science, that is study of the politics. Economics, that is study of the economy. So to understand the history of the origin and the development of these disciplines, it is an essential part of their learning. So here what is necessary? So whatever the subjects to students now we discussed about, that is whether it is history, archaeology, sociology, anthropology, political science or economics, what is necessary? First, it is necessary that all the subjects, how whatever we have discussed, how they have evolved, it is necessary to study this. Then only we can come to know about their development. So next students, we are going to study about applied history and our present. Now already students, we have studied about the applied history, that how with the help of history how we can understand our present and how we can make our future bright. So here we are going to study about management of cultural and natural heritage. So that topic we will be studying now. Now students, people often ask about the practical value of history. The answer to the question about the nature of applied history answers this question as well. Now already we have studied students about the public history. In that we have studied people that they are having a lot of misgivings, doubt about the practical value of history. They think that it is only useful for historians and those who want to gain knowledge, for them only it is useful. So for that question, for the answer, which is what is the answer for that? The nature of applied history answers these questions. The visible and invisible relics of the past exist in the present. Here relics means here ancient objects which are there. So the visible and invisible relics of the past exist in the present. We nurture. So what we are doing? We are taking care. We are nurturing them. We are protecting them, and having some kind of curiosity, attractions towards them. So whichever the ancient objects are there, we can take the example of here, right, Fort, Taj Mahal and all. So all that things we are taking care of that, and these and they are there in the present. So that are the historical objects, so we nurture them and we are having a curiosity, attractions towards them, and we wish to know more about their history because they represent the creative thoughts and traditions of our ancestors. So when we visit that places, when we see that historical things, so we uh, we want to know more about that, because that things they are representing the thoughts and traditions of our ancestors, that is of our forefathers. So it is our heritage. Heritage means here inheritance, that is the heritage. हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना धरोहर. So that, so we preserve it. It helps in building our identity, and because these things what they are building, they are helping us to build our identity. हम मतलब उसको हमको उससे हमारी पहचान मिलती है. The history of our heritage links us with our origin. So by studying the history of the historical objects, that is the past ancient objects, heritage, what we link ourselves with the origin. Hence, it becomes necessary to preserve and conserve it for the future, for our benefit as well as for the benefit of future generations. So here students, we are going to study about management of cultural and natural heritage. Now, cultural heritage, it is in the form of human creation. It is of two types, tangible and intangible. Tangible means we can see, we can touch it, and intangible means we can just feel. Now tangible cultural heritage. Now this type of cultural heritage includes ancient sites. Ancient sites, we can take the example of here Harappan sites, Mohenjo-daro sites that were discovered. By visiting that places, we can gather the informations. Buildings, in the buildings various monuments can be included by By studying that, we can know about the history. Artifacts, manuscripts means books that are written by hand, and there is sculptures, paintings, etc. So all these are cultural, tangible cultural. So next study about intangible cultural heritage. This type of cultural heritage includes the following things. So first is oral traditions and their languages. So regarding the now oral traditions and their languages, just we can hear, we can feel it. For example, Sanskrit language. It is told that from the Sanskrit language, various European languages have been evolved. They have been origin. And there is traditional knowledge. Third one is social customs and rituals of celebrating the festivals. The different types of social customs that we are following, so they are linked with the past, and rituals which are performed at the time of celebrating different festivals. We can hear Diwali festivals, Holi festivals, Gudi Padwa. So these festivals which we are celebrating. So while celebrating, we come to know in the past how it was celebrated. So in the present period also on the same basis we are celebrating these festivals. Style of performing the arts. Now different types of art forms are there in that. Dance are there, musics are there, that certain traditional skills is there. Communities, groups who represent such traditions, customs and skills. So all these are coming under the intangible cultural heritage. So here we have studied about the tangible cultural heritage and intangible cultural heritage. So tangible cultural heritage we can see, we can hear. Next we are going to study about natural heritage. Now the concept of natural heritage gives importance to the thought of biodiversity. It includes the following things, that is first is fauna, animals, flora, that is plants, ecology. Now ecology is a science that studies the living things, the environment and their interactions. So it is studying that. And geomorphic characteristics, which is crucial for sustaining the flora and fauna of a particular region. That is geomorphic characteristics means here the natural features of the earth's surface. So which is crucial means here it means important for sustaining, help supporting the flora and fauna of a particular region. It is essential for the benefit of future generation to preserve our heritage. So the heritage we have to preserve it for whom? For the future generation. UNESCO, the global organization, has announced some directives. Directives means here guidelines with the objectives of promoting the cultural and natural heritage. Now UNESCO, it is a global organization and it has given some guidelines. So for promoting the cultural and natural heritage. Now on the basis of those directives, list of sites and traditions are declared as World Heritage. Now the list of UNESCO's World Natural Heritage now includes Western Ghats. So the list of UNESCO World Natural Heritage sites, so now in present period it is including the Western Ghats. It is famous for different types of flora and fauna. The Khas Plateau in the districts of Satara is also a part of West. So here students, here at a glance here it is mentioned, no. So here oral and intangible heritage, that is world cultural heritage sites and natural heritage sites are given. So students, you have to go through this, all this you have to study it for the exam, because from this you may, in the board exam you may get the questions for identify the wrong pair. Along with that, in the for the flow chart also you will be getting the questions. So from examination point of view it is very much important. So you have to go through all the things that are mentioned regarding the heritage sites, oral and intangible world culture. Next we are going to study about the cultural and natural heritage management. Now cultural and natural heritage management is one of the main aspects of applied history. That is one of the main important part of the applied history. So the work of conservation and preservation of the cultural heritage falls under the jurisdiction of the Archaeological Survey of India and India State Department of Archaeology. Here jurisdiction means under the authority. Now here the whichever the cultural and natural heritage management is there, so they have to be conserved and preserved. They have to be conserved and preserved. Why they have to be conserved and preserved? So because for the future generations, so we have to conserve and preserve it and keep. So here it is coming under, who is looking after that? Under the jurisdiction of the Archaeological Survey of India and India's State Department of Archaeology. Beside INTEC, that is Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage, is actively working in this field. Means along with the Archaeological Survey of India and India State Department of Archaeology, INTEC is also working. The work of conservation and preservation of cultural and natural heritage requires participation of experts from various fields. So here, taking care of the heritage sites, it cannot be done by the common people. So for looking after that natural and cultural heritage sites, uh, who are required experts are, so they need to be duly means properly aware of cultural, social and political histories of the heritage sites. Now if these experts, that expert people, those who are looking after the natural and cultural heritage sites, now if that people they are going to look after that, and if they are not having the proper informations, so they cannot properly look after that heritage. So it is necessary that they should be totally aware of the cultural, social and political histories of the heritage sites. Now, principles of applied history are useful in creating the awareness among them. Thus, the operations necessary for the conservation, preservation and development of the heritage sites can be handled without causing any change in the original states. So, whenever the work of conservation, preservations and development of the heritage sites it is done, so it is necessary that when this work is done, the next is the local structure, the social structure and psychology of the local people, challenges faced by them in the present situations and their expectations can be surveyed in detail. Now, while studying the applied history, so here what we can do, here survey can be done, and through the survey we can come to know about the local social structures and the psychology, that is what is the thinking mindset of the local people and what are the challenges, problems that are faced by them in the present situations. Due precautions can be taken to avoid hurting sentiments of the local people while completing the projects of conservation, preservation and development of a heritage site. So whenever any new projects are done, or when the work of conservation and preservation of the development of the heritage sites is done, so at that time we can take the care that means we should not hurt the sentiments of the local peoples. Participations of the local people in the project can be facilitated, that is it can be become easier or possible. So here participation of local people can be done in the projects of the management, that is while doing the conservation and preservations of the heritage sites. In that the common people, that is the local people, they can be included in the projects. Systematic plan can be designed to employ the local skills in a creative way and create better opportunities of the livelihood of the people. Next we are going to study about the affiliated professional fields. Affiliated, that is the branches or connected professional fields. The knowledge of history can be supportive in the decision making with regard to the respective legal provisions and public policies in the following fields. Now in that, first one is museums and archives. Now here some legal provisions has to be followed while looking after this. Now museums and archives. So for looking after the museums and archives, so here mostly what is done, historical documents are kept. So for looking after that, who is needed? Experts peoples are needed to look after the museums and archives. Common people, they can't look after that. Preservation and conservation of the historical site. So for preservation and conservation of the historical site, for maintaining that also professional peoples are needed for looking after that. Third one is tourism and hospitality. Now tourism, while visiting the tourist places and all, we need local guides uh, to guide us for looking over the places and all. Hospitality means hotels is needed for staying and all, and there with different types of services are provided to us. Next is entertainment and mass media. In that entertainment, different types of dance forms, music we can come to know. With, for example, Bharatanatyam, what type of costumes are needed. Mass media, it is newspapers. So every field mentioned here requires expert personals with specialized skills. For example, architects, engineers, historians, archaeologists, museums, curators, that is caretakers, sociologists, archive management, professionals, legal experts, skilled photographers, etc. So here some names are mentioned. So of course this is just a representative list. So these are some of the names are mentioned. Those who are needed to looking after. These are the name of some of the experts who can look after the heritage managements. Now this, the help of the experts from many more fields is required. So these experts need to have adequate knowledge of the ancient sites, the historical background of the structural remains and artifacts. Now here the names that we have studied: architects, engineers, historians. So what is necessary? These people, they should have the sufficient knowledge about the ancient sites or the historical, and they should have the historical background of the sites that they are going to look after. That then only they can look after the historical site. They can give a proper look to that. Projects in the field of applied history can create various opportunities for these professionals. So when here different types of projects means work and jobs opportunities can be created. Yeah, while looking up, while for working in these fields, so various type of professional opportunities are generated for the people. Next year, do you know, here it is given. Now the earliest museum, that is of the 6th century BC in the world, was discovered during the excavations at the city of Ur in Mesopotamia. The excavations were conducted by Sir Leonard Woolley, that is from 1920 to 1934. Now this museum was built by the Princess of Mesopotamia. Her name was Annie Geldy. She herself was the curator of the museum. Curator means keeper of the museum. She used to look after that. Now a noteworthy feature of the museum is that the clay tablets. So here it is, the picture is shown, clay tablets inscribed with the descriptions of the exhibited artifacts. So here you can see the picture of the clay tablets. Next, do you know is about the Indian Museum, that is at Kolkata. The Indian Museum at Kolkata was founded by the Asiatic Society in 1814 century, and that is the Nathal Wallich, a Danish botanist. He was the one of the founder and the first curator of the museum. The photograph of the museum seen here is dated in 1905, and the museum has three main departments: arts, archaeology and anthropology. Other affiliated departments are conservation, publications, photography, exhibition, presentation, model making, training, library, along with that. Yes. So next here we will be studying about, it is interesting to know archives. Archives preserve and store old documents, official records, old films. So the National Archives of India is in Delhi. Every state in India maintains its archives independently. Another is archives with a distinct purpose. The National Film Archives of India, it is located in Pune, Maharashtra. It was established in 1964 as the media unit of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting of Indian government. Now it's served three objectives, that is to search and obtain rare Indian films and to preserve the heritage for the benefit of future generations. So which are to obtain the rare Indian films, and that films has to be preserved for the future generation. Next is to categorize the important aspects of the films to create documentation. Documentation means evidences that can serve as a records, and catalogs, that is classify and carry out research in that field. And that is to establish a center for dissemination of the films culture. Dissemination means distributions of the films culture. So students, hope you have understood this chapter. Now assignment of this chapter for you will be, that is, first question will be explain the concept of public history. Second will be archives. Third will be why it is essential to study the history of technology. And next will be the list of World Heritage Sites is announced by UNESCO. So these four questions that I have given me, it is the assignment for you students from this lesson. Thank you.